Thank you for your time. Now, the Electoral Commission recently announced June 30 to begin the mass voter registration exercise. The main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, and some political activists have over the months expressed their disagreement with the decision to compile a new register. Well, it looks like the NDC is now ready for any decision by the court, as former president and flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, engages residents of Tongo in South Dai in the voter region to come out in their numbers and register come June 30.
This year is an election year. Yes. And the Electoral Commission has decided that it wants to do a registration. We've had disagreements with the Electoral Commission on what register to use. The matter has ended up with the Supreme Court, and we're waiting for the Supreme Court to give its verdict. Whatever verdict the Supreme Court gives, we're all law-abiding citizens, and so we shall respect the verdict of the court. But whatever the verdict is, there's going to be a registration exercise, either a limited registration exercise, a new registration exercise, or a validation of an existing register. Whichever registration it is, I will plead with Togbi to beat the gong gong and ask all our people to come out and come and register so that in December they can exercise their votes. We know that in society or among human beings, there are two kinds of people. There are those who talk and do nothing, and there are those who don't talk but do a lot of action. Okay. December we'll have to make a choice, and I know that that choice will be for those who don't talk but act, and not those who talk a lot of hot air but do nothing. And we all know that NDC, we don't talk, but our action speaks for us. And so on December 7th, all of us must register so that we can bring the NDC back into power. Our elders say we've carried water and we've carried alcohol. I don't know how you say it in that way. And we know which one is heavier.
Well, the former president, accompanied by the Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxy Nelson Dapamapo, also presented some relief items to survivors of a recent boat accident and victims of a rainstorm that destroyed homes and other properties at Germany. Now, the New Patriotic Party will hold parliamentary primaries in the embattled Kwadaso constituency tomorrow, Wednesday, June 24. The constituency had been embroiled in controversy relating to concerns over the voters' register. Nanaya Ojima is my colleague there in the constituency. He's engaging some delegates who will be participating in the election tomorrow. He joins us live now. Nanaya, how would you describe the mood of the people?
So in the Kwadaso constituency, it is a charged atmosphere here among delegates. Currently, I can say they are the most important people to the aspirants at the moment, because a lot of them, almost all of them are trying to get them together to give them their final message before they go to the polls tomorrow. So they will have 3 people contesting for the seat here at Kwadaso constituency, and they include Dr. Samuel Kwadwo, who is the incumbent member of parliament for the constituency, and he has been here. He is the first time in parliament, and aside him we have Dr. Kingsley Nyako, who is contesting him, and also there's one other, Vincent Frimpong, and he is the Deputy CEO of the Middle Belt Development Authority, and 2 of them will be contesting the incumbent member of parliament, that's Dr. Nyama. And before then, there were issues with the constituency's album, or I will say that the voter roll, and the issues were that the previous voter roll, the one they used for the 2016 elections, had more than 700 delegates on it, but presently the number has halved. They have less than 400 people on that album, and that is the reason why they postponed the elections. The election couldn't be held on Saturday for this reason. So now things have been sorted. They can now go ahead and have the ballot on tomorrow, on Wednesday. I'll be speaking to some delegates to gauge the mood and see what they feel about the current arrangement that has been made for them. So, sir, tell me, tomorrow we'll be going to the polls. What have you observed? Are you okay with the voter register now?
Well, actually, that has been the verdict brought out by the National Executive Committee. So we respect the constitution of the party. Whether we are okay or not, we need to respect the verdict. So we embrace it, and we are going to the poll tomorrow.
And also we know that some of your members didn't find their names in the album. Did you find yours, and what do you think about it so far?
Yeah, my name is unfortunately missing. I am not happy, but just as my brother said, we respect the decision of the National Executive Committee. We are members of the Elephant, and for that matter, the party's interest is supreme. But come what may, the young enterprising engineer, Dr. S.K. Nyama, is winning tomorrow. He is going to be maintained. By 1:30 p.m. tomorrow, you will see that it is Dr. S.K.
So it looks like I found myself in a couple of delegates who are all for the incumbent, Dr. S.K. Nyama. Let me speak to this one. He's in a Dr. Nyama t-shirt. Why do you think Dr. Nyama should be maintained? Because a lot of the constituencies are following their incumbent members of parliament.
Yeah, I also happen to be an assembly member. I'm an agent for development. If you look at across all the electoral areas, there's no single community that you can make mention of that has no project in the community. We can mention a lot of projects. So as an assembly member and a delegate, definitely when we are seeing projects being initiated by the member of parliament, definitely we have to support him. So we want him to continue the good works that he's doing. It's not only in the constituency. You can check the records in parliament, his contributions in parliament, his contribution with the energy committee and everywhere. So we want continuity with the development and everything. I can tell you only 3 of the development that has never been happening before. You see, we used to.
It's enough. So some of the people that the delegates are rooting for, S.K. Nyama, who is the incumbent member of parliament. But I can tell you that there are others, a lot more people who are also for the other 2 delegates, the other 2 candidates. So we wait till tomorrow. By 2 p.m. tomorrow, we should have the verdict by then. Over to you, Mama V.
Live from Kwadaso in the Ashanti region, my colleague Nanaya Ojima there will bring you the coverage of that primary tomorrow here on JoyNews. Now, the Eastern Regional Secretariat of the New Patriotic Party says it will use every legitimate means, including force, to prevent aggrieved party members from contesting independent in any of the constituencies in the region. The party, at a press conference to review last Saturday's parliamentary primaries, said all aspirants were made to sign an undertaking before the process. The undertaking restricts aspirants from contesting as independent candidates in events where they feel peeved. Addressing the press in Koforidua, Eastern Regional Secretary of the party, Jeff Konedu, insisted any disgruntled aspirant who goes independent will be resisted. Maxwell Kodako is my colleague there. He attended the briefing and joins us via Zoom now for a conversation. Maxwell, what was the brief?
Well, Mama V, the regional party have been reviewing the process that happened last Saturday, and they say that they are very okay with the process. However, certain candidates or certain aspirants who lost have threatened or are threatening to contest independence, and the party is saying that it will not spare any aspirants who intend or attempt to contest as independent candidates. The regional secretary of the party, Mr. Jeff Konedu, who addressed the conference, is here with me. Chief, we are in a democratic dispensation. People have the right to join the party at any time and exit. Why should it be a problem if a candidate or an aspirant feel aggrieved and want to go independent, and you say you will not allow the person? What exactly is the case?
I thank you so much, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. As you are aware, we said it in all the application processes that anybody who comes in to participate in these primaries, and mind you, the primaries is not just the day of the elections. The primaries is a process, and it starts from when the applicant comes to purchase the nomination forms. So all that period and the processes that you go through, some of them is the vetting. You go through vetting and all that. We sign an undertaking with each and every person who came in to offer him or herself as a parliamentary candidate aspirant. And we made it clear that if at any given moment during the process you are unsuccessful, you undertake not to go as an independent candidate and also on the ticket of any other political party within that constituency during this 2020 and the incoming elections. And all the aspiring parliamentary candidates append their signatures. So first of all, if anybody, after we have gone round, and yes, we are, my regional chairman and the leaders of this region, we are embarking on a series of reconciliation meetings with all the losing candidates and the winning ones. And we will go through all that. And against all odds, if anybody still maintains that, yes, they won't listen and they will go as independent candidates, yes, then we will use the law to stop them or to prevent them from contesting as independent candidates.
And that's Regional Secretary of the NPP in the Eastern Region, speaking there to my colleague Maxwell Kodako. Let's still stay with the party now. Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, is asking MPs to fully commit to the business of the House in spite of their loss. Out of 41 MPs who lost their bid to continue to stay in Parliament on the ticket of the NPP, only 5 showed up today. Speaking on the floor, Professor Michael Quay urged the affected MPs to take the defeats in their stride. Kwesi Parker-Wilson joins us via Zoom from Parliament for some more. Parker, who are those in the House today and what has the Speaker been saying?
Right, so Mama V, we have the Member of Parliament for Akwetia, that is Amase, and Dr. Makisibe Yabua from the New Jabin South, and Atopan Ford, representing the Shama constituency. Then Vincent Odoto Isoa, representing the Dade Kotopon constituency. So these are some of the MPs who are present in the House today. And when the Speaker was welcoming all the members of Parliament from the short break that they had over the weekend because of the just ended parliamentary primaries of the NPP, he said that, well, in every election, you win, you lose. Of course, if you continue to win an election, obviously a day is going to come that you are going to lose. And so he's asking all the members of Parliament, especially those on the various committees, to make sure that they fully commit to the business of the House and shouldn't let their defeat or their loss affect them in any way, because one day definitely they will come back if they want to return to Parliament. And of course the government would also compensate them and help them serve in their various positions if there is any. So these are some of the things that the Speaker has been saying.
Sure. And Parker, you spoke to MP for Pram Sam George. What has he been saying will be the effects of losing some of these members?
Well, I mean, he is very sad that some fine brains are leaving the House. And as a matter of fact, he would have wished that a number of them were retained. But obviously, some of these things are going to affect the work of Parliament. And he's just hoping that those who are coming to replace these individuals would learn, the rope and then quickly adjust themselves to be members of Parliament. And it was also confident that those who have lost the election, in fact, they shouldn't worry because NDC is going to take back the seats where the new entrants are going to represent the NPP. So
I guess we wait to see that one. But the MP for Keta, Richard Kwashiga, also has issues with what he describes as opulence at the NPP primaries. Tell us what he's been saying exactly.
Okay, so he's quite surprised that a number of the CEOs and presidential staffers, including the 2 deputy chief of staff who contested in this primaries, won, and he's alleging that they used quite a number of money, and he's questioning where the resources came from, and he wants the Auditor General, the GRA, YOCO, to quickly launch an investigation into the source of funding, because according to him, what he saw was unprecedented in the history of the Fourth Republic, that some MPs or some aspirants were paying about $1,200, also 5,000 Ghana cedis. These were issues that he thought that needed some attention. And so he called on GRA, the Auditor General, and EOCO to quickly probe this matter. And that's Kwesi Parker-Wilson reporting there live from Parliament. Now, hard-working MPs who lost the recent parliamentary primaries could be rewarded with a position in future NPP government. That's according to national organizer of the party, Samir Wuku, as the party begins what he calls healing process. About 40 MPs, as we know now, lost their bid to contest in the December polls following shocking results in some constituencies, including chairpersons of the Education, Legal Affairs and Roads committees. Samir Wuku told Evans Mens on PM Express last night some of these negotiations have already begun.
The NPP on any day, we have an array of stars who step into the fray and take up the challenge, and with encouragement and motivation, they even sometimes tend to also perform beyond our imagination. In the NPP's wisdom, in the NPP's arrangement, we believe that at any point in time, one of us can be called upon to step into the shoes. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was one of our best debaters on the floor of Parliament. When he left, the Honorable Samuel Atachan took over, and Atachan has been also another great MP on the floor of Parliament and in government. So the NPP structure and arrangement, at every point in time, we make sure that we prepare ourselves, we prepare successors. It's like a tradition. And so I also do hope that our members of Parliament who couldn't make it over the weekend can serve as also a resource pool for the party, for us to tap into their vast experience and knowledge to help strengthen the party's parliamentary base and also help support their colleagues who continue to be at the forefront of parliamentary democracy.
Meanwhile, Minister for Parliamentary Affairs and Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu says the loss of the MPs could affect government business for the remaining 5 months before the year ends.
To be honest, I wasn't expecting so many people to fall by the wayside as has happened. In any elections, you expect some people to win, some others to lose. I was thinking maybe there may be some casualties. And by my own reckoning, I put the number between 10 and 12. So what it turned out to be really was a bit shocking to me, and I was really, to be honest, I was pulverized by the outcome of the primaries. But the constituents, the polling station executives are spoken, and their choice must be respected. I've spoken to quite a number of them. I've had some chats with quite a number of them. Some of them were down, but some are not too much perturbed, and they have assured that they're going to put on the best between now and January 7th, and it will also contribute their quota to the electioneering campaigns in the lead up to the presidential and general election.
And we can now listen to Chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, who lost his bid in the Ofinso South constituency. Ben Abdullah says he saw his defeat few days to the primaries because his contender had a superior strategy.
Honestly speaking, I didn't see it coming. I only saw it coming 2 days before the elections. 2 days before the elections, a lot of things happened in my constituency. And then when they did happen, it was then that I began to realize that things were getting a bit more difficult and tougher for me. That notwithstanding, I didn't still think that I was going to lose, because I thought that I was with the people on the ground. I had done the necessary campaigning expected of me. My message obviously was more powerful than the messages of my two co-contestants. But at the end of the day, the delegate decided in favor of one of the contestants. But it appears to me that my co-contestant who won, honestly speaking, had a better strategy. Before the primary, some group belonging to my co-contestants, if you heard, went to a certain one river of Finn, a certain river of Finn, and invoked all kinds of curses because they had heard that the party hierarchy had intended to protect me. So I believe that that was the genesis of the defeat, because right from that point, some of the delegates started getting afraid.
And Mr. Ben Abdallah, by the way, is one of those 5 MPs who showed up in Parliament today after his defeat on Saturday. That's your election brief today. For more political news, log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Mama Vio Swabwaji. Thanks for your time.